Hi, my name's David, and I'm the founder and CEO of MyA, which stands for My Assistant, and it's a platform for something I call trusted execution. Now, in this video, what I'm going to show you is how MyA can be used to create trusted execution for elder care, which is one of the biggest problems that's facing our society these days as our boomers start to age and their kids, mostly in Gen X and millennials, are trying to make sure that they have a high quality of life and a long life. Okay, so let me start by introducing MyA. So I mentioned it's a platform for creating trusted execution. Now let me define this and talk about its implications. Okay, so trusted execution is the ability to get something done the right way and with confidence after you've decided that it should be done. And you see that there's a bit of a crisis in execution these days as people make set lofty goals and have a lot of them, and they get overwhelmed because they're not seemingly not able to achieve them. And some of them are really important. So, for instance, the care of somebody's parents who might be aging or ill. Okay, so to get into one level deeper on this, trusted execution is execution that's these five things. They're reliable, it's competent, it's communicative, it's safe, and it's advocating. Okay, so we won't get into the details too much more, but I'll say that the demo that I'm going to show you shows that how technology can help make execution more reliable, competent, and communicated with little effort on behalf of the people who are executing. Okay. And then the last thing is that trusted execution is needed in elder care. So what's happening is a lot of the boomer generation is getting old, and they are then facing age-related diseases, heart conditions, diabetes, dementia, and also just a physical breakdown. They injure their hip or their knee, and they're not able to walk. And so as the boomer generation gets older, the necessity to stay on your routines becomes critical. And in a lot of cases, the elderly can't take care of themselves, but they don't want to be committed into a nursing home. They want to age well at home. And that's where trusted execution comes into play. Okay. Also, Generation X, people in their 40s to 60s right now, they're in the sandwich generation. So not only are they in the position of taking care of their kids, but also taking care of their parents at this point. And so with Gen X, the buck stops here. And that's very difficult because you're taking care of your kids, your parents. You may have also bought a home, so you have to take care of that. You may have some sort of small business with a lot of operations there. You may be facing your own health issues. So you're trying to stave off heart conditions, diabetes, the same conditions that your parents are facing, heart conditions, diabetes, dementia, maintaining your exercise, your blood tests may not be coming back perfect anymore. And so there's just a lot on Gen X. And, this is not to mention where they spend most of their time, which is in their careers, or also pursuing some sort of higher purpose. So it's very overwhelming right now. Okay, so in our case study, we're going to talk about a client who lives in the US and she's studying for her master's right now. And she also has this elderly mother in Mexico. The mother has dementia and is blind. So basically cannot live on her own and needs about 12 hours of care per day. So this is 84 hours of care per week. Okay. And so the system I'm going to show you, she's used it. It's a task management slash kind of work management system. She's used it to remotely manage care for her mother. And she's managed over 2,500 hours of care over 6 months and executed more than 6,300 tasks. Okay. And she otherwise wouldn't be able to do it as reliably. And so she's achieved more peace of mind and also continuity in her own life. Okay. So let me show you the demo of how this works. All right. And this is kind of early stage, no frills software. Okay. So the item on the window on the left is a caregiver menu. Okay. So this is what a caregiver sees when they log in. And the window on the right is a client's view. Okay. So what we're showing here is that a client, so this is our client, might have a lot of tasks that she needs to happen for the kind of the caregiving of her mother. Okay, so you can see tasks such as visiting a doctor, administering medications, 11:15 four times in a day, in the morning, at night. Other tasks that are just kind of normal, kind of house carrying, living tasks, sweeping the yard. The client has a CPAP machine, so that needs to be maintained, closing dinner, closing the day, okay, dinner, lunch, cats, exercises, reading a book, to activate the mind and manage the dementia, kitchen, so on and on. You kind of see like these are kind of tasks of daily life, and there's 33 of them. Okay, and so anybody who's had to care for their parents will be familiar with a list like this. Okay, so these are also specified on recurrence. Okay, so we can say how often these tasks should happen. So, you know, visiting a doctor every 7 days, starting on April 22nd. Um, um, Filling a tank every 6 days, cleaning the refrigerator every 2 days. So you can kind of see that every day is going to be slightly different because we want to kind of specify the recurrence rate optimally. Okay, so what does she do? Okay, so if she wants these tasks done, then what she does is she schedules a shift for a caretaker. So she's going to schedule a shift for the caregiver, Carrie. Okay, it'll happen at the home. Right now it's 11:52 in my time zone, so I'll say that this shift starts at 12 p.m. And then let's say it ends at 11 p.m. So it's an 11-hour shift. And you can see all this is specified. And we also have the notion of an arrival window, because in these situations, one of the things we found is one of the pain points of hiring household help or care is that they may not arrive on time. And so that creates a level of uncertainty. It also doesn't get the shift off to the right start. And so we define what the arrival time should be, or the arrival window, and then we give a bonus if a caregiver or worker arrives within there. Okay, so what we're going to do is then schedule this shift, which is essentially an agreement between the client and the caregiver that there's going to be caregiving between 12 p.m. and 11 p.m., that there's an arrival window there. Okay, so then on the other side, what happens is then there's the caregiver. So the caregiver then logs in between 11:30 a.m. and 12 p.m. and sees that they have this shift that they're going to work. So they click in, and then they can start the shift. And what happens when they start the shift is all these items go onto their queue. Okay, so all the items that the client needed done are now on the caregiver's interface. And what the caregiver can do is then go through the list. Okay, so maybe the first item that needs to be done in the morning is do verbal exercises with Alexa. So they can complete these tasks. They open them. They're basically checklists, and you can see that they're done. Okay, so then she can take the parakeet out of the cage in the morning. Okay, maybe serve breakfast. Okay, now if they run into some sort of situation where they're not able to accomplish something, then they can communicate that within the app. Okay, and this is superior because in a lot of these situations, there's so much to do that when something gets skipped, it actually doesn't get communicated that it got skipped. And then your trust in the execution goes down because you can't trust that everything was done the right way. Okay, so let me give an example here. Maybe there was a clean the kitchen task, and this couldn't be done because there was a reason. There was no cleanser today. We'll get cleanser later today and do tomorrow. Okay, so the interface allows the assistant to indicate that something was skipped. Okay, maybe, and that's because there's an issue. So sometimes you might skip something not because there's an issue, but because you ran out of time. So cleaning the refrigerator. This isn't the top priority. The care for the caree is higher priority. So the caregiver can indicate that they could not do it because they ran out of time. Okay. Um, so I'm just gonna push a magic button. So this happens over the course of the shift. I'm going to check everything that was not skipped or done. Okay. And by the end of the shift, then you see most of the items were done. The couple were skipped here, so that's what's indicated, and they end the shift. Okay. So what happens when you end a shift is reports generated. It's a top-down report. It's a CEO report, if you will, which shows a summary of what happened at a high level, and then kind of more details on any of the items here. Okay. And the caregiver can add notes here, can say Carrie was experiencing episodes of anger today. Okay, so the system allows that those notes to be entered, and then manages all the bookkeeping, which is really easy to do. For a computer can do this stuff really well. Humans are not that great at it, but it could actually take away from the ability of the caregiver to focus on the care of the caree. So it can say when the arrival time was, the actual shift, we did it in 3 minutes, but it can manage all of the timesheets, how much gets paid, whether a reliability bonus gets paid, the total earned, etc. And one thing that's really critical is here, one of the reasons we have trusted execution is because we keep track of things that indicate trusted execution. So do they show up on time? And we also incent it. We keep track of this inside the system, so we know the percentage reliability of caregiver. And we can play that back to the caregiver, so there's some gamification there. But also, because there's a track record there, the caregiver can use that, their percentage reliability, as a marketing tool to get additional jobs. So the incentives for trusted execution are higher. Okay. The execution is also more competent because of these checklists. As long as the caregiver doesn't break the cardinal rule of checking off something that wasn't done, then we can have reasonable confidence, or more confidence, that all of the things that need to be done are going to be done. And of course, the communication of this is automated so that the clients can get an idea of what happened. Okay, so when the caregiver submits the timesheet, then an email goes out to the client, and the client can check their emails. So when the caregiver finishes the shift, then you can see basically over here, an email goes to the client, okay, and the caregiver and everybody. It summarizes the shift. It allows to click down into the full report, so the client can see everything that happened during that shift, okay, including the comments, including what was skipped, and why it was skipped. So yeah, this system allows, basically it's a system for giving a checklist to someone and making sure that they do the checklist the right way. That's trusted execution. And what we've seen is this is providing a lot of peace of mind for our clients, because execution is so hard to come by in a home environment. And we look forward to using this technology for many different clients in many different scenarios.